Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a throwback look at the Transformers Prime First Edition Deluxe Class Starscream. Now this review is coming out slightly earlier than personally I had planned. Here in the UK we've had an absolute horrendous storm which truly has messed up my reviewing schedule. Some figures of which were supposed to arrive this week won't arrive until next week, so I've decided to push this review here out earlier, although you may in fact actually like this video here more than some of the reviews that I have planned for next week. So you can see that in regards to the box art, absolutely fantastic. This is in fact one of the only first edition figures that I've kept mint on card. For those of you who checked out my most recent garage haul, you guys all know that I did in fact actually decide to leave him in box just because I've always found the actual Voyager figure to be superior than this figure. But many of you actually were quick to disagree with me in the comment section, which is completely understandable as these first edition figures truly are some of the best that Hasbro have ever put out. Their Optimus Prime, Bulkhead, Bumblebee, RC have all been fantastic, and to be honest, even to this date, I still think that they are unmatched when in comparison to some of the other Prime offerings. So you can see here, in regards to box art, looking fantastic. Of course, we've got Starscream transformed in the jet mode in this really awesome transparent bubble. You can see that wicked Transformers Prime logo with this really awesome metallic blue foil there for Starscream, and the same does also apply here to the first edition logo. We've there got a really cool image of Starscream from Transformers Prime, and then as we just spin our attention here to the back, you can see we've got a full shot of the Autobot casts from Season 1. Sadly, Cliffjumper really didn't last too long, but you can see we've got some wicked images there of Starscream in both robot as well as jet mode, and of course some promotional shots there of RC and Bumblebee. I will also in fact actually showcase the unboxing in this video, just as I have no intention in fact actually keeping this box. So without further ado, after an almost over a decade wait, let's crack Starscream open and see how he does in fact actually stack up amongst some of the other first edition offerings. So we'll just slice this section here, and with a bit of luck he should in fact actually hopefully come off pretty clean, although it looks as if that's going to take the majority of the card with it, but just rip that clean off. And we do in fact actually see a display base. These have been something that I haven't seen in the collection for so many years. Of course, we did in fact actually get that cardboard plinth, which actually wasn't a bad idea at all. You can see really awesome graphics going on the Autobot insignia and the Decepticon logo here on the side, but pretty basic, and to be honest, 9 times out of 10 after this review will sadly end up in the trash. But it really did create this almost premium feel to these Transformers Prime figures. We just never saw anything like this with some of the other toy lines. But of course, we've got here the instruction manual, which has been taken directly from 2011, so will no doubt be pretty much impossible to follow. You can see how we've got actual product shots there of the figure for the transformation steps, something which we haven't seen for so many years. And then of course here we've got Lord Starscream himself actually looking really awesome here in the jet mode. So I'll crack him out of this clamshell, and then of course we'll take a closer look at him in jet mode and of course robot mode. And here we have the first edition Starscream cracked open and out of the packaging, and oh my goodness, what a fool I've been for keeping this guy in storage for the best part of a decade. The transformation alone absolutely blew my mind the first time round, as I was just not expecting it to be nowhere near as complex for a deluxe class release. The first edition figures truly were in a league of their own, and my only hope is that we can in fact actually see more of these guys reissued in the future, much like we saw for the Transformers Prime 10th anniversary. Now we'll waste no time at all and of course delve straight into the figure himself. Of course we've got him as he come packaged in that fighter jet alt mode, and what a fantastic representation it is of what we saw in the show. You can see from pretty much every single angle. Hasbro and the team over at Takara, I believe, who worked on this, did a smashing job. Honestly, it looks terrific. Now as far as I'm concerned, the reasoning behind why the first edition figures were discontinued was because coming off of the back of Dark of the Moon and Revenge of the Fallen, parents were complaining that the Transformers were just way too complex for kids to in fact actually convert. And to be honest, it actually stands to reason, as when you compare this Starscream to say the Voyager counterpart that we saw in the Robot in Disguise toy line, it is in fact actually a lot more complex than of course that mass-produced offering. Personally, I've always been a huge fan for more complex figures, but of course not everybody, especially including younger collectors, can be bothered to sit there for 10 to 15 minutes transforming a figure from robot, of course, to its alt form and then back again. But you can just see here that in regards to the jet for a deluxe class, it's so nicely done, and I was really surprised to see that there actually isn't that much undercarriage kibble. You can see that we've got the triple missiles here attached onto the side of the wings, which I do believe is inaccurate. I believe believe he only in fact actually had a singular missile in the show. But honestly, if Hasbro's willing to give us more, I'm definitely not going to complain. You can see here for the top, we've got this wicked gunmetal coating going on for the wings, which truly looks awesome. We've got the cockpit there, which looks great. As we spin our attention here to the back, we do in fact actually see a fully sculpted in thruster, which is awesome. And you can see here the tail wing, which looks fantastic. The same can also be said here for this back section. Overall, just such a wicked looking alt mode. Of course, you can clearly see the legs here, which isn't the best, but for a deluxe class figure, honestly, I'm not complaining at all. And the Voyager class, honestly, isn't that much better either. So I actually really love the way this looks. You can just see that is definitely Starscream from the show, as you would be raining terror down on the Autobolter, of course, transforming in order to evade punishment from Lord Megatron. Now, without further ado, we'll get stuck straight here into transformation, as surprisingly it is rather complex. So you're just going to want to set these missiles here off to the side. I believe that we're then going to want to just basically loosen these wings. We can then spin our attention here to the legs, just disengage those, bring these sections down and disengage this region, spin this around. Honestly, the parts count for a deluxe absolutely blows my mind. And then you're going to want to hinge here, and you can see how these tabs will now peg into these slots where the nose cone is concerned. So basically just get a good grip of this and snap that section in there. We can then fold out the spikes here that are where the knees are, and then we can just come here to the toes, flip the heel spur and the front toe forwards. Repeat the same process here for this side. And then as we just come here to this back section, I'm not entirely sure as to what these are supposed to be. I don't remember him ever having these in the show, but once again, such an amazing parts count on this figure. And this is truly an eye for detail. Hasbro did not have to include these. It's just so well done. We're then going to want to rotate at where I presume the waist would be, and this will in fact actually ratchet click into place. We can then split the arms from this section, just hinge those down, leave them there for now. We're then going to want to come here to this tail fin and split this here right down the middle. It can be slightly easier said than done, but just disengage that. We can then take the thruster, hinge this just like so, and then take this section, pull this backwards, which will reveal the awesome first edition Starscream head sculpt. We can then pull this up, rotate here at the neck, and then if my memory serves me correctly, I believe that first of all, we're going to want to snap this section here into place, and then these two tabs will in fact actually lock here where the neck is concerned, and then we can just take this joint and snap that section in. We can then in fact actually lower the crest. Sadly for mine, it has become warped in the package. I did try and heat this up, but I had no luck at all. So maybe after the review, I'll try and find a more permanent remedy. But honestly, I don't think it looks too bad. What we can then do is take this, collapse this just like so, and then this section comes up and the thruster comes down. And then what we can do is extend here at the elbow until that clicks into place, fold out the wrist, take this section and just collapse that within the forearm. Once again, such an amazing attention to detail. And then just repeat the exact same process here for this side. Fold out the hand, fold this section. And as far as the wings are concerned, I believe that we basically just compress them so that we're left with a rather streamlined and slender design. And then for some finishing touches, we just take the missiles, put them here onto the side of Starscream's forearms. And with all that being said, here we have the first edition Starscream fully transformed up into, honestly, his wickedly awesome robot mode. This guy looks fantastic, and not only does he look amazing, but the articulation is so nicely done. You literally can get him into all of those sinister and very sneaky poses, much like we saw in the show. I'm hoping that I'll be able to showcase some of those off towards the beginning part of this review, but you can see that overall, just in terms of the overall proportions of this figure, he looks incredible. Now, I think I may be doing something a little wrong here with the torso, but you can see that in regard to the skull work there of the face, that just looks so well done. Lord Megatron, I wish to serve you. You can see the paint and the sculpt looks awesome. We've got some really nice gunmetal highlights, as well as a metallic silver used here for the torso, the Decepticon insignia slap bang there in the center, as well as along with those red highlights. And the shoulders don't look too bad at all. You can see some nice blue highlights, really awesome sculpt work going along here for the forearm, and those fingers very anime inspired, of course, to match what we saw from from the show, and you can see those wings. I love how they elegantly just sort of protrude off to the side, looking really well done. Of course, we've got that singular thruster. Sadly, the nose cone doesn't look the best. It would have been pretty cool to see them maybe kind of compress this, but honestly, it's a minor critique for what is otherwise an awesome looking release. You can see here for the thighs, incredibly slender. The same can also be said here for the shins, and of course those toes really do look awesome. Now, in regards to articulation, Starscream of course possesses a ball joint here at the head, which can look left to right, up and down, as well as of course tilt side to side slightly. We do get ball joints here at the shoulders, which can rotate the full 360. Due to transformation, we do in fact actually get a shoulder hinge joint, which is really well done. A rotation here at the bicep, as well as 2 joints here for the elbow, so we get the more traditional elbow joint, and due to transformation, we do in fact actually get an inwards joint, which, as mentioned previously, really does allow you to get him into some of those very expressive Lord Megatron poses, much like we saw in the show, which I think is just so cool. Due to transformation, we do see a waist joint, although the way it's been cut, it is slightly ugly from certain angles, but you can definitely make it work. We do get ball joints here at the actual hips, which can go forwards, backwards, out to the side. Rotation here at the thigh, as well as a 90-degree bend there at the knee. And due to transformation, of course, the toes can pivot forwards and backwards. So overall, in a nutshell, I think that pretty much wraps the first edition Starscream up. From every angle, I think this guy looks so well done, with the exception of the nose cone just hanging out here to the butt. But I really do think he's such a nicely executed figure, and in regards to detail, paint, and accuracy to the actual show, I do think this is the best Starscream out there, even dethroning the figure of which I've had in the collection for so many years, that of course being the Prime Voyager figure. Here for a very quick Prime Decepticon comparison, we've got the first edition Starscream compared next to the regular release of Dreadwing, the APC Toys version of Transformers Prime Megatron, and of course the Season 3 Beast Hunters Shockwave. And I actually think he scales really nicely, probably better with this Megatron when in comparison to the Voyager offering, and just as a whole, I think he scales really nicely with the likes of Dreadwing and Shockwave. Out of Dreadwing and Shockwave, which out of these two would you guys like me to take a throwback look at next, as I've just been dying to review more Transformers Prime figures over on the channel. And so, some final thoughts for this Transformers Prime First Edition Deluxe Class Starscream. Honestly, what else is there more to say that I haven't already expressed during this review? This guy is awesome. In regards to jet mode, for a deluxe scaled figure, I actually think it looks really nice. Not that much undercarriage kibble, of course there's a tiny bit, but to be honest, it's something that not even leader class figures can in fact actually avoid, and for a deluxe counterpart, I actually think it manages the kibble really nicely. The jet mode looks very accurate to how it appeared on the show. Maybe I would have liked to have seen a singular missile instead of the triple missile, but honestly, more firepower for Starscream, that definitely isn't something to complain about. I think the transformation is genius. For a deluxe class, oh my goodness, this is mind-blowing, and it really does just show that the first edition figures truly were ahead of their time. I would actually go as far as saying that if these figures were released now, they'd probably be bracketed under something like a masterpiece line, as they are so well done and truly do capture the appearances of the characters almost down to a T, especially where their Optimus Prime and Bulkhead are concerned. In regards to robot mode, the figure looks fantastic. Not only does he look great, but he poses so nicely, even better than his Voyager counterpart. And unlike that Voyager release, there are no ugly purple transparent components or really wacky gimmicky accessories like we saw with that figure. He literally is a proper mainline version of Starscream, and I'm going to go as far as saying this is probably the best transforming Transformers Prime Starscream that we have ever gotten. I am really hoping that one day we can see Hasbro properly actually give us updated versions of these characters. Of course, the legacy figures are giving us a slight stylistic spin, which, whilst where Bulkhead was concerned, actually didn't turn out too bad. Characters like RC have been butchered, so I definitely would like to see their take on these characters once more. But overall, this figure is just incredible, and I'm so happy that I did in fact actually decide to take a throwback look at him. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below on what you guys think of not only the figure, but of course the review. Do you rate him as highly as I do, and do you in fact actually think that this figure is indeed better than his Voyager counterpart? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, and of course until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.